Hi, Janice. How are you?
Hi, Umi. I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So we were just chit-chatting a minute ago, and I want to thank you first of all for coming today on the channel. We'll be having a very fun discussion about passing all your exams, you getting the CFA, designation, and we just discovered that we got the charter on the same year. And so, first of all, before we deep dive on this conversation, I want to first ask you to tell me a little bit about yourself, your from professional wise, and then we're gonna start the discussion about this CFA.
Okay, sounds like a great plan. Well, firstly, thank you for having me on. So a little bit about me. So I'll say with my career, I started off in investment banking. So my background is in investment banking. I've done a bit of asset management and I've done a bit of structured products. To be honest, I've moved between buy side and sell side of finance. I've done corporate finance and currently I'm working at a VC studio and VC fund. So I've just been all over the place.
And you seem to have a very well-rounded background. As I was reading your bio, I was like, "Oh my gosh, you did everything."
Is that a good or a bad thing? Because I mean, sometimes I'm like, it was more so. Actually, I blame CFA for that. If I'm being honest, it was just you read something, I'm like, that sounds interesting. I want to
Yeah.
see what that's about, and then I just kind of dive in head first,
Mhm,
and I
mhm.
love it. So yeah, thank you CFA for my diversity.
So I want to ask you a little bit about how your journey started. Like, when did you do level one, level two? Like, tell me a little bit about your beginnings.
Okay, so I did level one the first time in 2017. And so it was December 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And my reason for actually starting the whole CFA journey, that was when I got my first ever job. And I can't speak for everyone, but for me personally, I realized that what you learn in school is different from what you need to apply on the job to actually succeed.
Right.
And I was so lucky that, at my first job, there were so many people who were on this CFA journey.
Yeah.
And, they saw my zeal and how much I wanted to learn. And, I actually wanted to do actual work as opposed to just writing memos.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted to really understand what was going on. So, like, they all encouraged me, okay, take the CFA, take the CFA. So that's how I started. I remember, like, my colleague, he actually gave me his CFA book because I was studying for level three at the time. And he was like, okay, just have a read through and let me know what you think. And I read through and I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I'm doing right now. So I'm definitely interested in writing this exam. So that's how I started my CFA journey. And I'll say my first experience ever, I really didn't know what to expect. And I would say I also was not prepared. Because people tell you you're not going to have a life while studying for
That's
CFA. But
right.
I thought I can do it all. I can have a life. I can I can have a life. I could work in investment banking without long, crazy hours and still have time to write my CFA level one. It was all a joke. I mean, but lesson learned, and definitely I took home like my lesson from that, and then applied it, and was able to scale through the remaining levels.
Okay. This is so funny. Yeah, it's true. You don't have a life when you start with the CFA journey. Like, CFA is your life, and so I wanted to ask you: do you come from a finance background or not?
Yes, I studied economics in university.
Okay. Okay. So you
Yeah.
studied economics in university. You wrote level one in 2017. When did you write level two, and when did you write level three?
After I wrote level one in 2017. Ooh, I'll say I wrote my level two. That's a very good question. I So I wrote my level one after I failed 2017. I tried again 2018. I remember back then as well. in Nigeria, I think they only had either two or one slot to write the exam in a year. So
Uh-huh.
that definitely like spaced out the time I had. And also, I mean, good and bad. Part of that was I had more time to study,
Right.
which I did. So I rewrote my level one in 2018 and I passed. And then it was time to, I kind of took a break off that because I felt like I need to pace myself. Like I've learned from level one, I need to actually like dedicate time to study.
Mm-hmm.
And selfishly or self care of me, I wanted some time to just get myself back and, rest, relax a little bit.
Yes.
And when I felt I was ready to write my level two again, COVID happened. So it was after COVID, and all exams were cancelled. It had to be deferred. So I think I wrote my level. I really don't remember exactly the date, but I think I wrote my level two December 2020 after lockdown had eased in Lagos, Nigeria, and then I then wrote my level three February 2023. So I definitely gave myself like space and time in between each exam.
Okay. So did you give space and time on purpose? Because that's a lot of, like, that's a big gap. Like, that's like 3 years in between each one of them.
Yes, because so yes, I did, and my reasoning was I had like when it came to like my life plan, I had different goals and targets I wanted to meet. And even when it came to CFA as well, my reason for taking the exam was not to become a CFA charter holder. Like it's definitely an added advantage. But
Mm-hmm.
my main driver was the fact that I wanted to learn, and
Right.
I wanted to learn what I would need so I could excel at my job, or if I was trying to change careers. So during the times when I had those gaps or those spaces was when I was switching from investment banking to asset management, and then from asset management to structured products. So it's kind of like in between my career switches. I'm like, okay, I'm about to switch. What do I need to read? What do I need to learn so that I can, put my best foot forward for this job?
Right. Okay. That's fair. I think that, wanting to get a charter because not just for the sake of getting the charter, but because you want to learn, that's a good motivation, I would say. And I use the same approach, meaning that, I mean, I did not space out. I mean, the only reason I spaced, like I took some space and some time, it was because of the lockdown and I had no choice. But I know that when I took the exams and when I was studying for the CFA, it was because I wanted to learn, not because I just wanted to pass the exam. Because, like you said, there is so much added value that you get, and you are an added value too when you have that designation. And so I think that's a good approach. I think a lot of the times people just want to get the designation for the sake of getting it and having those three letters next to their name, but they don't want to get it. They don't get it because they want to learn, which is usually like it's probably the third or fourth reason, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my question is, what materials did you use for all of the levels? Did you use anything in particular?
So, for my level one, the first time that I failed, I used the CFA curriculum. I
Uh-huh.
used Schweizer, and then I took CFA classes.
Uh-huh.
But what I also quickly realized was, what I quickly realized was that I don't like school. I don't like sitting in a classroom and having like the way my brain works is I need to first read to understand, and then I when I then have particular questions, then I then go and ask
Right.
around for someone to explain it to me.
Uh-huh.
So for me as an individual, classes was not beneficial for me. And so for my level two, level three, I studied alone, and then I used honestly just the curriculum, because even with Schweizer, some
Right.
people swear by Schweizer, but for me, I loved how detailed the curriculum was. Like the curriculum got into the granularity of the concepts, which helped me understand all these new concepts that I had never heard of before in my life. So if I was to recommend any study material, definitely the curriculum. Oh, and then IFT videos as well.
Yes, those are good.
They were so
So
good
good.
because, yes, I'll say my process was first read to try and understand on my own. And if I don't get it, then I go through the IFC videos. And then if I still don't get it, then, I call a friend.
Explain me the concepts.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. You definitely had a different approach than what I had. I think so. Here's the thing. Like, I used the curriculum just for level three. I think for level one and level two, I did use Schweizer. I used IFT. I used FinTree. But here's the thing, even Schweizer, like it's good, but it's good in only until a certain point. I think it doesn't go into details like the CFA curriculum do. And but here's the thing, also like with the CFA, like it's those books are gigantic, so people don't have time to read them. So there are pros and cons, I would say. Like Schweizer is good for certain things, but I think it's good to complement your, study session with both things. I think that's how you can best learn. Yes.
100%,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Again, some people swear by
I
Schweizer,
know. I know.
and I get it too, because I'll say like Schweizer for ethics, yes, yes, please. Um, yeah, I mean it depends on each person's individual approach. So I agree with that.
Yeah, but yeah, Schweizer. I know some people use it for level two or level three, and I felt that it was such a bad idea to use it for level two and level three. I think for level one was good, but I think, like you mentioned, IFT is a good, like they have really good videos. I think that's pretty good. Fintry 2 is also pretty good. There is this, he's an Indian professor who just, gives you all this explanation and is so good. I really, really liked it. A lot of people use Mark Meldrum, and I feel like Mark Meldrum, either you like it or you don't like it. And I think he explains everything, but sometimes I feel like he complicates the concept, like instead of making it easier, he just complicates himself. So it's really finding your fit. Like, no, I don't think like there is no one size fits all, basically.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So my other question is, how many hours did you dedicate, if you remember?
So I really tried my best to track my hours, but that school of thought that if you're going to pass, you need to dedicate over 300 hours
Yes.
to studying. So I really and truly tried my best to track it, but honestly, no. Um, like for me, it wasn't more so about the hours, but then my study plan was, in fact, I don't even say I had like a particular study plan. I mean, I like following the curriculum as is. So like if this was the first reading, I would like going reading one, two, three, four, five,
Mm-hmm.
six.
Mm-hmm.
And but something I used was I don't remember what they call it, but the learning resource that
Uh-huh.
came like when you register for the exam, and how it tracks, okay, these are how many points you need to get like daily as you're getting closer to your exam. So I definitely use that to gauge myself. But then apart from that, again, I was more so reading. I wanted to really understand the concept. Like that was my main driver all through my entire exam. So I didn't necessarily track my hours.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I get it. And for mocks, what did you use in terms of like mock exams?
So mocks, definitely the CFA mocks.
Yeah.
And then I used mocks from Fintry as well.
Uh-huh.
And there was another place I don't even remember, but I always had like two or three on rotation. So I know that, and also like back then, I don't know how it is now, I remember like when I was studying for level 3, the curriculum only gave one mock, like one
Right.
set, one in an afternoon. And in the past, they had given two different sets. You have, A and then B. Um, yeah, but it was mostly curriculum, Fintery, and then I actually don't remember the last one, unfortunately.
Uh-huh. And okay, and then I do want to ask you two more questions. So, how did getting the charter change your career? Did it help you? Did it make you change job again? Go to another sector of the industry?
So I would say getting the charter, it's definitely opened a lot of doors. Um, I wouldn't say it was the main reason that I switched jobs, but it's definitely opened a lot of doors. Like it's very interesting to see how, you know, um, other investment or finance professionals, they have more faith in you or more confidence in you, knowing that you have your CFA
Mhm.
charter. And it also, I feel like it gives you in a way like a seat at the table, because at that point you've proven that your
Your
your stuff exactly. And it's also helped because even with my switch between the different aspects in finance, I would say with this, like, just going through the whole CFA process, there's never been a time that I've been in a room and I didn't understand at least the basic concepts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely like, even with interviews, I know like there are times when they ask me something that I really don't know much about, but then I always had the basic idea and could always just wing my way through that particular question. So I'll say it's definitely beneficial. I wouldn't say it's beneficial just because you want to switch jobs, but it's beneficial more so for the like vast amount of knowledge you just consume just going through the entire CFA curriculum.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I I agree with you. I think it does open like a lot of doors, a lot of opportunities. I think, like you said, people look at you differently. It shows that you have a lot of determination. It shows that you're hardworking, because definitely those exams are not easy. So it comes with we know it comes with a lot of perks. Like I like to say, it's a good thing to have it, and it does help you to stand out and get that competitive advantage. And so now that we're approaching the end of the interview, I do want to ask you if you can share 3 tips for anyone who wants to pursue the CFA program.
3 tips. So, number one, I would say truly understand your reason for wanting to start the CFA journey and stick to it. Don't decide to start your CFA journey because your friends are doing it. Like, you need to be truly dedicated and committed. And there's nothing wrong with, wanting to start a journey because you want to be a CFA charter holder, you want the CFA beside your name. There's also nothing wrong with, okay, because you want to learn. But then if it's just because you're following the crowd, it's going to be difficult for you to keep up.
Right.
That's my first tip. My second tip is, human beings were all different. So everybody has their different reading styles, their different study styles. So for instance, I was more of I study better at night and I sleep during the day. And just based off that, don't let anyone put pressure on you that you're not studying the right way, because truly there's no right way to study. You just have to find what works for you and just, again, stick to it. And then the third tip I would give is, try your possible best to have fun along the way. And I say this because, self-care is very important, especially to me as an individual. And I know we all make that joke. You don't have a life like when you're studying for CFA. In fact, something that I did the day before I wrote my level 3. I was on Netflix watching Dairy Girls because I just needed to decompress.
Right.
And so I will advise that everyone finds a way to decompress and just relax. Because even like when I speak to my mentors, they always say the night before your exam, just try and relax.
Right.
And you see people and then they are so, like their nerves are shaking, and all those things affect you. It affects your brain, it affects your memory, it affects your mind. And if you want to put your best foot forward, your mind needs to be at peace. So definitely find ways to decompress and just like find outlets to try and have fun so that there's balance as you're taking your exam.
Yes, yes. I love the tips. I think that's the first time someone gives tips related to self-care. Find out if you're more a morning person or an evening person, which goes back to one size does not fit all, that concept. And also the first tip about trying to understand your reasoning of doing this, because it's a lot of sacrifice. And I think those are pretty good tips, because I think often we just carry away by what other people are doing, and we just do it because everyone is doing it. So it's important to really take time to reflect if this is what you want to do. So I think those were really, really great tips. um, so before I let you go, I do have a rapid fire question for you. Let me know if
Alrighty.
you're let me know if you're ready.
I was born ready. Let's hear it.
So are you a coffee person or a tea person?
I'm a coffee person.
Me too.
I I knew I liked you.
I'm a coffee person too. I love coffee. Um,
Okay.
your favorite guilty pleasure?
I'll say my favorite guilty pleasure would be watching anime.
Oh, what, like, can you name one of them?
So I'm currently, because I just got into anime recently. My
Oh,
friend put me on, and so like currently now I'm watching Attack on Titan, and I'm just wondering where has this been all my life.
oh my gosh. Okay. I'm not into anime, so I guess I can't say anything about
I
this.
mean, to be honest, I was like you last year, but then I feel like once you start, you get it.
Nah, not now. Not
Yeah.
now. My third question is your favorite dish.
Girl, I'm Nigerian. Nigerians love food. That's going to be a very tough one because I love to eat. Um, I would say my favorite dish also depends on the day and my mood. But
No, you have to choose one. You have to choose one.
then in that case, I would go for a nice, pounded yam with egusi soup.
Okay.
Like I'll say that's my comfort food.
Love that. Your I have two more questions. The first one is your favorite travel destination.
I don't have one because I haven't seen every part of the world that I'd love to see, and
What
I
would
am
you like
very
to
big on
see?
it. I really want to explore more of Europe. I
Okay.
love the culture. I love the architecture. I love the landscapes. I love the food as well. So I really want to explore more of that area.
Fair. Fair enough. And last question is the best tip you have ever received.
The best tip I've ever received is just be yourself and do you.
Oh,
Those who align will align, and those who don't, they're not worth your time.
That's it. That's it. I love this. I love this. Well, Janice, thank you so much for coming on my channel today. Before I let you know, can you tell us how people can find you?
Oh, they can find me on LinkedIn, Janice Dibia. I mean, also my Instagram, Janice Dibia. I mean, that's about all the social things
All the
I'm
social that you
on.
have.
Yeah. But thank you so much for having me. This was really and truly a lovely conversation.
Oh,
And if I was just having this conversation, I just revisited and just having flashbacks of the study days. Yeah, thank you for doing this. I wish I had seen this or someone was doing this back then. Maybe I just didn't check. But yeah,
thank you for coming.
yeah. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.